Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brother Amir and Brother Phil from Wake Up Everybody. It's June 30th, and we wanted to discuss, harvesting your own fruits and vegetables in your yard, and you can also harvest them inside your home, depending on what you want to harvest. Um, what I have started is last year, Brother Phil, for the first time, I was like a kid in a candy store. I planted some watermelon seeds, and lo and behold, I seen watermelons growing in my backyard, man. I let everybody know, man, because I ain't never grew nothing in my life, man. If my mother and father was here today, man, they'd be like, man, what then got into you? Because I never thought in a million years you talk about growing something to eat. I'm like, Dad. So I was just so excited. And this year, I decided that I want to add more things to my backyard. What I did is I invested in two 8 by 12 garden beds. They're raised steel ones. And had a gentleman come, like cut out a certain area where they could sit flat in my backyard, because I got like a little raised hill on my backyard. So they sit flat. He put some kind of dirt that is really good for. So what we did was, and again, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're seeing this. You're seeing a lot of fruits that you normally eat that's seedless. It's a reason for that. They don't want you to have the seeds for you can grow it yourself, where you're going to get modified fruits that are not truly that 100% fruit. So what we do is that anytime we buy a fruit, we keep some of the seeds for some of our other friends that may think about the following year to start growing some of their own fruits and vegetables in their yard. So we're growing watermelon, raspberry, um, cilantro, mint, um, red beets, cucumbers, um, ginger, a host of other things that we're growing. And I'm just so excited because every day that I'm out there, my neighbor happens to be Filipino. And he's been growing since he's been in the subdivision. And multiple people in my subdivision they grow their own vegetation in their yard. It just so happens that we talk all the time. He's an older gentleman, so he gives me some pointers. And we should be able to do this in our own privacy of our own yards. But you brought up a good idea as well. Being able to say, okay, in our subdivisions, if you're befriended with other individuals that are homeowners, the simple fact that you may grow apples, I may grow, grapes, and then we can exchange. But we can also say after the harvesting, if we want to be in a certain area, just say in your subdivision, you got a cul-de-sac. We could be in the cul-de-sac the first Saturday of every month, being able to sell to the subdivision fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right. Or you can work out a bartering system. You know what I mean? If you're growing apples and pears and your friends got, grapes and oranges, you know what I mean? You can exchange your harvest as well. One of the biggest things that if we're not paying attention, people, and Brother Amir was speaking on it with the seedless fruits, slowly but surely, we're kind of being pushed into a corner where someone else will be controlling your food supply. They have for a long time, but it's getting to the point now if you're paying attention, as he stated. You're eating these fruits, don't get me wrong, they taste good. I don't know if there's any health problems associated with it, but it would be wise to start small. And even though we're speaking of homes and subdivisions, if you actually live in an apartment, because they sell, you go on Amazon, and you'll find buckets and baskets that you can grow potatoes in. You know what I mean? You can grow. You'll have a vine coming up out of it look like a bucket. And you can grow tomatoes on your porch. So you don't have to own any land. You really can farm from, as Brother Mir said, also inside your home. I've even seen videos on YouTube where people are literally growing food in their homes. I don't know what page I was listening to, but a gentleman was living in Chicago on the 30th floor of a skyscraper, and this gentleman had a whole farm inside his apartment. Of course, I know it sounds, a little bit far-fetched, but the fact of the matter is, if you take the time to learn, And that's what this discussion is with Brother Amir and I having. We need to go back to the old days where people actually grew their own food. Most of us know that families of color, if you're fortunate where your family's been in the city for your whole time in America, but a lot of us came from the South. Our grandparents and great grandparents were actually farmers. That's what slavery was. They were farming for people. But of course, we made our way into the cities, became sophisticated, forgot all about what was in our roots. And what Brother Amir has stated on a previous episode we were talking, when you go in the grocery store, start doing yourself a favor, read the cans and bags and of the labels of the foods we're eating. Now, I go to Sam's Club a lot, I go to Costco. Of course, you get in bulk, things look good, the packages are, well, how do you say it? They're marketed well. But read what you're eating, okay? And we've got to eradicate bad health from our communities. High diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity. I don't know the numbers right offhand, but I would believe we're one of the leading communities.
Yes.
Right? I think we're 15% of the total population of the United States of America. But for some reason, on the bad health side, we're at the top of that. And it stems from your diet. Absolutely. So imagine what's on your table. You could grow it in your backyard. And just yesterday, when Brother Amir was talking about himself with the watermelon, my wife and I have been growing stuff. And yesterday, I had a nice tomato cucumber salad right out of my backyard. And I'm just like this brother here. I grew up in the city. And yeah, my mom were alive, and I was able to tell her because my mother was one of the people too. She did everything fresh. She didn't want nothing out of a can. She didn't want anything out of a bag. Right. Those times have changed. But it feels good to see something come up out of the earth that you planted. You get to bring it in your house. And, serve it to your family, healthy.
I tell you what, too, brother. If you look at, because now juicing has become very popular, right? So you see a lot of on TikTok, Instagram. You see it all over, and that's a great thing. But they never really talk about growing your own fruits. They never talk about, okay, only use fruits that got seeds that are seed fruits. They just talk about add this fruit, and here's the end product, and this is what it's going to benefit, right? But it's the same thing when we talk about what I do with the herbs. They always tell you about taking something, but they're not telling you where they got it from.
Right.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, let's be total transparent, okay? If you're getting fruits and vegetables, okay, you want to make sure, especially again, we're especially speaking about seeds, you have to get some fruits that have seeds in it. You can't just say, okay, I don't want to go a little farther because this particular place is right here, so I'm just going to continue to just keep buying seedless watermelon, seedless grapes, seedless oranges. I'm seeing that more now popular. I'm even seeing, just the other day, I seen seedless kiwi. Now we both know, if you look at a kiwi and you slice it open, there's hundreds and hundreds of seeds in the kiwi. I can't imagine opening up a kiwi and there's no seeds. So what is that telling us, right? They want to slowly but surely remove that so you don't have the opportunity to grow it yourself, where you got to depend on them, and we don't know what they're spraying on it, how they're harvesting it, how they're interacting, because the kiwi is in the same family as the dragon fruit. Those that come from the same family. If you open them both up, you see a lot of seeds as soon as you open them up. But when you start opening up now and you're not seeing no seeds, there's something going on genetically from a manufacturer standpoint of view. It's not coming out of the ground. So that's just so very important, ladies and gentlemen, is just pay attention to when you're out, wherever you're at shopping, if it's supposed to be a seed, it is a seed in that particular fruit. Because if it's not, I cannot tell you what it is truly and how it's going to benefit you health-wise. And like Brother Phil said, if you're picking up something whether it's a bag of mixed greens, lettuce, or if you happen to eat canned goods, just turn over for a second before you put it in your cart and just read what's in it. You know, because a lot of these things now, um, they're they're even telling you it's causing cancer. They're telling you where it's coming from. So if corn is coming from China, and we're right here in America, and we know there's a lot of corn farms here in this country still coming from there, how long did it take for that to harvest? How long did it take to can it? And then they're telling you it's causing cancer, and you still putting it on the table, feeding your families and loved ones. We got to do better, guys. We have to do better. We just have to do better.
And before we close this out, the issue or challenge the people out there that are with it, you know, every year families get together for Thanksgiving, which is one of the largest meals for families to sit down and eat. Get with your family right now. You know, like I said, you don't have to own any land. Grow your own sweet potatoes. Grow your own potatoes for your potato salad. Like I said, sweet potatoes for your sweet potato pie. Grow your own cabbages. You know what I mean? And the information is out there for free. But we definitely have to take back ownership of what we put in our bodies. And I don't, the FDA, USDA, these departments, that alphabet soup, but they do not have our best interest in mind, other than to collect our dollars.
I just wanted to add one other thing. I met a brother today at the gym. Right, we were talking we were in the sauna. Young brother, and he heard me talking to another young lady about corn, and he asked politely if he could join in the conversation, and he said he was an advocate reader,
Yes.
and he has the lost books of health and remedies,
Okay.
but he's harvesting mushrooms.
Okay.
So he said that he was whining his wife and his kids off a chicken because of the mushrooms. He
Right.
said his uncle is in California, and his uncle has been harvesting mushrooms for years.
Yeah.
So he said after him, now harvesting these mushrooms, and again, I think you said it before on one of the other casts as well, that I said, so how does it taste when you cook it, you season it? He says, Amir, I tell you, man, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm gonna tell you this. It tastes like chicken. That's what he told me. He told me today. He said it tastes like chicken. I said, oh, okay. And he said, my wife is, gradually, getting away from chicken because, and with his uncle, he's been growing for a long time. He's a real vegan, and he was showing him all the different side effects and showing him how they, pumping up these chickens with these steroids and then blowing up and everything. Chicken is right there with the pork, with the pig. You know what I mean? So that's something that I want to look into as well, is the mushroom.
Yeah. And like I said before we close, on these mushrooms, for those of you all that, like myself, I'm, just learning about veganism, so I'm willing to try new things. What Brother Amir just said about these mushrooms, and the brother said, tastes like chicken. Jackfruit, mushrooms. I have a daughter-in-law that's a vegan, and came by the house one day. They were having these sliders. Now, what they look like, the pulled chicken sliders. It was jackfruit, but her seasoning, the texture of that jackfruit on them little buns, I could have swore it was chicken.
Mm.
If you put them in on a food line somewhere, let's just say Golden Corral, and they tell you they're chicken, I couldn't tell the difference. But we've got to actually learn how to prepare these foods, season them right, and I assure you, you will change your diet. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.